But we'll move into the picks and bans now for game number 3. Both teams with their backs against the wall. Remember, OutCold have not gotten a set victory since week number 1. Yeah. Whatever it was that clicked that first week, it has not since. Team Queso now has a chance to put them down again.
Well, weeks 2 and 4 up against Queso, OutCold Gaming lost both of those sets 0-2. So making an improvement now as long as they can find another win. Finding the game 1 victory over 46 minutes is a little mentally draining, but now going into game 3 with a blank slate, I have high hopes for OutCold Gaming to do the right thing.
Well, the Xbalanque has been banned already by OutCold. Almost feels like they're saying that we don't want to be forced to take this in the first slot and then giving over warrior stuff, so they're banning it away. And so now the pressure goes on Team Queso. Do they kind of let this King Arthur through, which OutCold don't seem to value particularly at this point, or try and ban another warrior that Dimi might want instead, like the Jormungandr or a mage? So I think that's exactly it. Queso are recognizing that Dimi hasn't really prioritized the King Arthur. See if you can force him onto it here.
Well, it was banned away in games 1 and 2, so I don't expect it to go, not unpicked rather, so taking that immediately. But remember, it's Queso's Julio. He's the one that wants that Arthur matchup because he's going to be locking in the Camazotz.
Almost certainly here in one of these first 2 picks. Jingwei going to come through as well. In a world where Xbalanque is gone, Jingwei's become the de facto number 2 for the Hunter role with all that safety. But I imagine it's be something like the Camazotz. But no, the new WoW will come through, and this one's also been contested. Warchi played it, Prime has played it already as well. So here it is being prioritized yet again.
You don't need Camazotz before secondary ban phase because you don't expect OutCold Gaming to have Arthur and Camazotz. It would kind of lead them to believe where the Soul Laner is going to be and also where that jungle is. FrostiaK, not really known for playing that Camazotz, and not going to be playing it today.
So they've got to pick it here, though, or else it could very easily be banned by OutCold.
Yes.
If they feel like that's the pick they have to take into the Soul Lane matchup. Jormungandr also thought is that pick, but of course he's already been banned out, so very likely they'll have to go down to this Camazotz. But instead, it's the Ganesha that's picked up here. And we like this Ganesha. Dracomarino played it earlier on today. Remember, it is rising up in value, though of course it did end up dropping that game. So maybe the Camazotz gets banned.
Ganesha is good against channeled abilities, such as the Artio channel beam during the Druid stance, so you can silence that out. You're going to be doing more damage when you're dropping that Turn of Fate. So I like the idea. It's aggressive. Nuon needs a little bit of help in the mid to late game for boosting up her damage numbers. Ganesha kind of pushes her along that way.
2 junglers banned away by Team Queso to take an eye towards FrostiaK and limiting his pool. Looks like they're actually okay with letting him play Thor. They're banning away the Unbots and the Rat and kind of forcing him onto that. Meanwhile, OutCold, they are looking towards Julio. They are banning away some picks he likes to play, the Guan Yu and the Tyr. I just don't know if those are the ones he wanted this time.
This is ultimate mind games, honestly, because Queso are playing as if Camazotz is going to be banned, and then wait a second, OutCold Gamer are going to think, they want us to ban Camazotz. We're not going to ban Camazotz. We're going to ban everything else that Julio likes to play. The Tyr, the Guan Yu makes a lot of sense. Still available, though, to lock in the Camazotz.
Well, after the way WorstTurttle played last game, I couldn't be convinced that he should not play Ravana yet again here in this game. So certainly snap that one up for Team Queso. This time an easy pick for them. Serqet will be the response, along with the Isis in the middle lane. So another mage with a little bit of a lack of mobility. She's got some more movement speed, even though she doesn't have a jump or a dash. That can help some, a lot of peel for herself, but could certainly still get dove by this Ravana. And then, of course, as we expected all along, the Camazotz comes in to round out the draft.
Isis is a great way to protect yourself against those backline penetrators because of the circle of protection, mitigating that important damage. As we all predicted, Julio on the Camazotz, this is something that he invented as well, so excited to see how it's going to stack up against Dimi's Arthur.
That's right. Just as the casters predicted, a lot of pressure on this solo lane matchup between the King Arthur and the Camazotz. Also keep your eye on how these junglers do as well, but this is it, Game 3. Let's get it back over to Hindu and Aggro to take the call.
This is it indeed, and OutCold took down Game 1. Queso for Game 2. How are we feeling about the comps for Game 3?
I really like OutCold Gaming's comp here. I mean, they've got a ton of CC, good objective control. Their late game is poor. They have to. I think they have to win pretty early.
Why is it poor late?
Because they just don't have great. They don't have great dive potential. I don't think. I mean, King Arthur and FrostiaK can work well together on that, but Serqet much worse when there's 5 people all grouped up. She really wants 1 or 2 max around at any given time. Breez on the Artio, I mean, can do okay in the late game team fights. Hachiman definitely is okay, but all hunters are. I just think that Queso's late game is so much better. I mean, Nuwa, Camazotz in the late game, who's unpeelable. You got Dracomarino on the Ganesha, who's going to do a lot of damage and a lot of control at the same time, and Jing is as safe as it gets. I just like Queso's draft a lot more.
Yeah, I think you're right with that, especially with OutCold gaming. I think you're looking at Blink for FrostiaK and Dimi to really make anything really happen. Obviously, Blink online for FrostiaK already. As we check in with the new duo lane, that's what I'm going to call it now.
Okay.
I've still not understood why we've not seen the switch up of the hunters come into the solo lane and the tanks go into the duo lane and have the supports over here still.
That's because warriors need blue buff a lot of the time, and blue buff is only on the right side of the map.
Well, then you got Blackthorn Hammer, so what's the issue?
Yeah, but that's not until you got Blackthorn Hammer. That's a long time.
But you've got TP.
Look, this is just what other solo laners tell me. I think solo laners are babies.
Yes.
You got to learn how to manage your mana without it.
You just hate every role in mid, man. You're just really going into
babies.
It, like, how easy every role is, but mid's the difficult one.
Okay, the only other roles that are as hard as mid lane are jungle and support. Every other role is easy. There's only 2 left.
Okay, so you're saying solo laners and hunters are easy.
Yeah.
Okay. Just make sure you'll quote that in chat. Remember who said that?
Yep.
Why are they so easy?
Because, okay, well, hunters have the easiest job in the world. Can I say that? They have the same job as mages, except they have no cooldowns they have to worry about. They shoot out 2 auto attacks a second. They heal themselves, and they don't have to worry about cooldowns. It's so easy.
Okay.
It's basically mages but easier.
But half the mages can buy Bancrofts and do the same thing, right?
Bancrofts is bad on almost every god.
You don't have to stack it. Draco needs some stacking help right about now. Stacking back to his
Great
tier 1 if
Cobra's
possible.
Kiss.
He won't get a chance whatsoever. As you mentioned, the Cobra's Kiss came in from FrostiaK at the exact right time.
Right as the dash was happening there. Beautifully done for FrostiaK. And a perfect time to gank. Make that 2-on-2 a 3-on-2. WorstTurttle trying to do the same, and Dimi may have overextended just a bit.
Please, I am King Arthur, and Breez's shells will always be there for me.
That's right.
To be fair, he's been using those over and over again. Left-hand side, we did see a little bit of a trade between the 2 hunters momentarily. The beads were used by Chekio earlier on. Against the engage from the Hachiman. Was he a little bit worried about a rotation, I guess, there?
I don't know. I mean, probably just that his dash was down and Spudio has a lot of damage in the early game. I mean, hunters, again, they don't have to worry about cooldowns, Graham, so they just do damage all the time, no matter what. All you have to do is hit your auto attacks, and there's no cooldown on them.
So what's easy about solo lane then?
Solo lane, you just run it.
So
you just run at people. I mean, you don't have to do any. You don't even have to press your buttons. You just walk at someone, and they have to run away from you. That's OP. And then, God forbid that you do damage over a period of time, and they press thorns, then they kill you by your own damage.
Something tells me, Aggro, that you're talking best case scenario in these instances with the hunters and the solos.
No, it just happens
We're
all
not
the
really
time,
discussing the fact of trying to press W and run at people when you're 4 levels down in lane or something, right?
No, that shouldn't happen, because solo's easy, so just don't let that happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying that I'm rational here.
I never brought that up either,
Yeah,
so I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not my argument. Argument.
What mid laner is rational? Name one. Prime is the closest, and the only reason Prime is now rational is because he has a child.
That's right.
That's the only reason.
That's right. No one else could have done it the way Prime does it, man. Number 1.
Yep.
Pop up Prime.
And with that, the first kill for Dimi gives him that little bit of a lead to get Gladiator Shield online a little bit quicker. I think Arthur's one of the only gods that actually has to get an item. Is there any other god that has to get an item? I guess Kukulkan with Book of Thoth.
Yeah, it's pretty wrong to not get Book, I think, on Kukulkan. I'd say it's pretty wrong to not get, like, Spear of the Magus on Poseidon in the early game. But it's not nearly as bad as not getting Glad Shield. I mean, Glad Shield turns King Arthur from a character that is super fun and super not good into a character that's super fun and super good.
Should we change it to the King Shield then?
Ooh, King Shield would be cool.
Because he's not just a gladiator, he's a king.
That is true. That's a cool name for an item. King Shield. We should try that out sometime.
King me. That's what you can just say over and over again. Although, to be fair, Dimi's doing that on King Arthur anyway, where he kings people, not by choice. Takes them up, causes them problems. Now, the matchup of this...
He does kind of knight them, right? Because you knight by, like, putting your sword on each shoulder, and he just, like, slices through you on each shoulder. So he's knighting you in there, kind of. How nice of him. Here he is, knighting Julio.
Over and over again. Julio, though, may not like it and take himself back up to the sky defensively before FrostiaK can get any more damage off. I think one more basic may have been the difference there.
Absolutely. It's just that FrostiaK, Julio is already got a stack of diminishing returns on him because of Dimi's ultimate. So you can't do the full 2 ult combo and get your auto attack off. You just won't have the time.
I was going to say a bit of an awkward situation potentially for Dimi developing here because FrostiaK was waiting to gank Julio if he came back to lane, which he didn't. Instead, WorstTurttle rotated round. Dracomarino has arrived. Lots of silences, but another ultimate's available. Guess what? Shell comes into play, however, to make sure that Julio doesn't die for now. And a shell from Breez at the most opportune time to get him out of danger. That was good work from Dimi.
Surprise, surprise. King Arthur gets out.
Spirit Ball comes through from Pride. And that gives a bit of pressure once more from OutCold Game on the right-hand side now to look for the invade onto the blue buff after the fact. Not sure if they're going to pick that one up, but Julio will take a lot of poke and eat the Spirit Ball to the face. Did those protections make a difference? It's only rank 1. It's not going to be enough, right?
Well, it's only physical protections, right?
It is only physical, you're right. For some reason I was like, it's all protections. I thought it might got changed.
Maybe it did.
Can we check Ganesha's silence? Doug?
It's so blink in from WorstTurtle.
Can we check it in? Oh, wait a second.
On the Breez.
Yeah.
Doug knew there was going to be action. Now
Yeah,
Doug
sorry,
knows
Doug.
that
Sorry,
he can,
Doug.
that he can check
My bad.
Ganesh.
I wasn't saying like that second. Like,
Oh, you kind of were.
I guess so. You're right.
It is all prots. That definitely saved his life.
So it did.
Yeah, that definitely
See,
saved his
I'm
life.
not even an analyst. I just talk rubbish, but I actually know the game sometimes.
Well, you get to do the balance sections on patch notes while I'm talking skins, so I didn't get to say that, so I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you don't read the patch notes unless you say them? Is that what you say?
That's right. And I can't even read, actually. I just guess.
Pictures.
Yeah. That's why I do the skin section, because they just put pictures on there and I know what to talk about.
That's the whole reason why I put you on that section, because it's like, hey, it's a pretty skin. Talk about it.
Great work by you.
No problem. Especially Zeus ones as well. Whenever there's a Zeus skin,
They're so cool.
guaranteed.
They're so cool every time. How could you make it not cool Zeus skin? You
You know
couldn't.
what? There's one skin of the Zeus that I don't like now, the Demon one.
I like that one, because it has the red lightning.
And you know why I don't like it?
Why is that?
Because it's red lightning.
Red lightning's cool.
On spectator mode, it annoys me. I always care about what it does in spectator mode. That's why I didn't like Yorm, because I'm like, man, this god's going to annoy me during spectator.
No, it's
Watching
cool.
this huge worm appear.
It's cool.
Why is he even bigger in his ult than he is in the game?
Because he's so big, he wraps around the entire world.
And just crush this world.
He wants to.
Just do it, man. You don't need to play against them.
Well, like when you've like wrapped around that much, it's hard to
Yeah.
like actually squeeze.
That's a good point. Good point. Although anacondas do that all the time, right?
Yeah, but they don't tie themselves in like a knot.
Should say before all the snake specialists out there start to criticize me there. Blue buff invaded by OutCold Gaming once again on the right hand side. Pressure's been continued over here. It's about a 2k lead approaching for OutCold Gaming now. Just that 1 kill under their belt, but it's more about the farming situation.
Dimi's got himself a nice lead over here, and I'm a little surprised that OutCold didn't ban the Camazotz. I mean, there's such a prevalent counter pick to King Arthur. But Dimi's handling it pretty well so far. This is usually the time where we see Camazotz start to win these trades.
Breez pressuring Warchi. Warchi got a very nice little stun off, but it didn't do a whole ton of damage. The ult after the fact was defensively used to get him away from danger, and that's forcing Draco to rotate back into support too. Good work from Breez to pressure Warchi enough to get his beads and his ultimate.
Yes, and Prime as well. I mean, toss the Spirit Ball, drop the Circle of Protections, detonate the Spirit Ball, start Wing Gusting, pop the Circle of Protection. It's perfect. I mean, that's what's so fun.
And Isis is one of those characters that you've got to keep your eye on, and that's the benefit of having someone like Breez in the front line. That's why I was giving him the credit, because if you can distract the opposition from not looking at Isis, the next minute that Spirit Ball will end your life.
Absolutely, and it's going to end his life soon. Chekio might lose his. And on archery, just not enough damage. Good ultimate from WorstTurtle, but Spudio can't find the last auto. He had one shot and one opportunity. He missed it.
Spaghetti. Julio in trouble. FrostiaK gonna end up securing the kill for Dimi. I didn't want to go for the whole thing. I'm just like, let's just get to the spaghetti bit and move on.
Great yes and.
I just said spaghetti. It's good. It's fine. We all know what that meant. But again, that left-hand side play, there was one thing Chekio did there. When he ulted backwards.
Yeah.
Now, he may have been looking for damage, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt that he was trying to rope-a-dope Spudio a little bit with the Hachiman because of the ultimate and the direction of the ultimate, trying to change the cone and make it difficult for him to land the damage as he was ulting himself.
Yeah, exactly. The horse doesn't exactly turn on a dime for Spudio, so if you can put yourself in a slightly different position than he's expecting, maybe he overshoots you and doesn't get a chance to get mounted archery off. And credit to WorstTurtle as well for hitting that Mystic Rush in the middle of that mounted archery. You don't know when Spudio is going to demount and how fast he's going to be going. That was good accuracy.
Funny enough, I think Guan Yu's better control of his horse.
Well, yeah, he's...
Guan Yu's the better rider. That's what we confirmed.
He's the general, right? Like, Hachiman isn't a general, is he? He's like a dude.
A dude.
I don't know.
A god!
Yeah, he's a god, but like...
I mean, it's not just gods anymore, is it? There's kings and demigods and...
mythical beings.
A Merlin.
Mythical being.
Who says he's mythical?
He's in a myth, isn't he?
What?
It's a myth.
Some of the stories about him are myths. He's not a myth. He's on TV. Disney made films about him. He's so famous.
Disney made Hercules too.
And he's famous. See?
Right. A mythical being.
Hercules lived. What? He killed the Nemean lion.
Right.
You don't believe that?
I definitely do.
Man, it's in a book.
Which one?
The Adventures of Hercules.
Who wrote that one again? I'm just trying to know the Dewey Decimal Code for it so I
Zeus.
can pick it up at the library. Zeus wrote it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
I'm taking a risk on the Zeus pick there.
Yeah,
'Cause it could have been Odin.
Right. Definitely. That's what I was thinking for sure.
Left-hand side half is going
Yeah.
down, or at least aggressed. But WorstTurttle blinked in for those. And I think it was the worst. Oh, he didn't blink in that. I just ran in there. Oh, that was an ult.
Ulted out.
Even funnier.
FrostiaK was trying to ult
Yeah.
WorstTurttle. And it would have been a good CC chain
Okay.
with that spirit ball over the wall. FrostiaK.
Big silence. No beads.
Dude.
No escape route whatsoever. Just going to juke it out the shell
Shell.
again from Breez. Good time. Didn't really need it. Needs it there. As Chekio will get credit for the kill. Warchi was already available anyway if required with that new war ultimate. But after the fact, Spudio now in trouble. Trying to help out his jungler on this rotation has now cost him his life. And it could develop into a Gold Fury.
And again, it's all Dracomarino, man. I mean, this guy,
The kid's been a god for a while.
he is really, really strong.
When he first stepped on this team, I was like, hey, this guy has skills. For some reason, European support seemed to get developed very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And come out of nowhere. Breez has just appeared, and he's doing pretty well for himself. But before, we've had Dracomarino come through, Dardes, are
Yep.
two of the more recent ones that have come to name that have just appeared on the support scene and really made impacts.
Absolutely. And Draco had a pretty good running in the SPL during their time in the SPL. I think had a bit of a down period at the beginning of this year, wasn't really making the level of plays that I was expecting from him, but as of late, man, he's really stepped up his game, and as a result, I think Queso's looked a lot stronger.
With that, though, the Gold Fury does still stand at the moment. There was no real opportunity for Queso to look to take that away after getting a couple of kills they found for themselves there. Checking mobiles, it's Blackthorn Hammer for WorstTurttle this game. Get himself some extra health as well as the mana regen. Blackthorn's still useful, though, clearly, even after the nerfs.
Yeah, only 350 health now, but oh no, only 350 health for a pretty cheap option.
Dimi going to rotate into mid lane and pick up Ganesha and ride Spirit Ball a little bit too early, so can't be detonated after the fact. Circle of Protection did a lot. Ganesha at least gets his ultimate down before falling. Back in the fight, though, WorstTurtle's in on PrettyPriMe and gets Warchi a kill for instead of Hog.
Dimi still full HP though, and Julio is very far behind in that lane. Dimi no longer full HP. Chekio on the rotation as well, may force him back, but Chekio level 14 is something you got to be very respectful of.
And credit to Breez there. I think that stun from Breez just stopped Chekio continuing the chase onto Dimi, because the Gust was down, could have jumped in and continued. Nice little work there. 3-4 Queso, however, are winning the fight in kills, but they're still down on gold here, right?
Yeah, I mean, Queso has looked pretty good in these last few fights. A little bit awkward there, I think, from Prime that he misses the Spirit Ball, and that allows Draco to get a really good ultimate off that, again, pins Prime up against the wall, gets his beads and his Aegis with WorstTurtle right on top of it. If that's a little bit cleaner, I think OutCold might be able to keep that fight going in their favor, but I love that Dimi's rotating now. With this is where King Arthur feels unstoppable, because you just don't have enough damage to kill him early on. His sustain is still good. I like how much anti-heal Queso has invested into. A Brawlers from WorstTurtle, a Divine Ruin from Warchi as well. So they have options to try and kill him, but it still won't be perfect this early on in the game. And Dimi's really been dominating that solo lane. He already got that tier 1 tower down. He's 2 levels up over Julio. The counter matchup not working this time for Queso solo laner.
Credit really is, though, towards Breez and FrostiaK for helping him out in that lane, too, to allow that pressure, especially in the matchup, like you said, against the Camazotz. Dracomarino uses his silence and his ult defensively again, but gets picked up in the jungle. It's an early game support problem, as you'd expect, especially against the Serqet.
Gold Fury started up by OutCold. Spudio's getting pretty low, and WorstTurtle's got a great angle. Blink in right away. forces out the Aegis. Prime's ultimate has to be detonated for really nothing at all.
It's not a terrible situation for Queso. They force a lot of ults out of OutCold Gaming defensively. Get rid of the circle of protection. More importantly, now Julio is here looking for a potential target, or at least to force back OutCold with the ultimate of his own. And it does develop that Gold Fury. Queso with a nicely timed aggression.
And that's exactly what they needed, because as you mentioned, they're getting the fights, they just aren't catching up in gold. Gold Fury will do that for you pretty easily. That new ultimate just anti-healing everybody. It seemed like OutCold thought they were going to have a better opportunity to get the objective itself. Prime drops the ultimate, and that should be the we're standing and fighting and we're going for this sort of ult. But because Spudio got too low by tanking when he hadn't finished his Devourer's Gauntlets all the way, and PrettyPriMe was also kind of weak, and Warchi's ultimate got them a little bit even weaker than that. It just ended up being a not very good ultimate from Prime.
Spudio gets a tier 1 on the left-hand side, but may go down in trade here. But a nice little juke out will be good enough for him to reposition. WorstTurttle didn't really have much to follow up with, no ultimate available, so not worth the risk or the reward after the fact. You did mention about the anti-heal from Queso as well, and it's not really just for Arthur, is it? I mean, there's a few gods on that team that cause issues for sustain.
Yeah, Prime, his Circle of Protection will be huge burst heals if you don't have anti-heal for it. Breez, of course, on the Artio has some decent sustain built into the kit. Normally, I kind of make fun of European players because they just love anti-heal for whatever reason. This is a game where I think this much anti-heal is warranted, where I think a lot of players may not have built anti-heal this early on. This is intelligent item purchasing from Queso.
It's a lot of pen on a Divine Ruin as well, funny
Yep.
enough. It's something that gets overlooked quite a bit. Obviously, the anti-heal's good. You do lose a little bit of magical power, so to speak, by going for some of these pen options, especially Divine Ruin. But making up with it in pen, in the long term, that can be more impactful.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing out on Spear of Desolation in that slot. That's the big one that you're usually slotting
dream,
in there.
right? That's the dream.
Literally everything you want. It's kind of like what hunters have with Aussie, like Spear of Desolation is for mages. It's literally every stat you want.
But it's easy to get hold of. Well, one thing that's easy to get hold of is Checkio there. No beads, no Aegis. That actually was used there as he took on FrostiaK in the jungle. FrostiaK just used his ult, picked him up, and maybe able to develop a red buff. The rest of OutCold, though, grouping up in the mid lane, looking for this tier 1 tower. No minions with them, though, however. And Camazotz now making the rotation from the right. Starting to develop a bit of a window for FrostiaK to push down the left-hand side, but WorstTurttle has noticed it.
Draco actually blocking off the minion wave with that ultimate. Breez has to tank the tower for a decent amount of time in order to get some of that tower damage going, but can trade off that tower aggro to Dimi. Good double stun, though, from Warchi. Gets Breez and Dimi a little bit lower and applies that important anti-heal.
WorstTurttle and FrostiaK on the rotation back, but the tower damage, it was pretty chipped down, not enough to get the kill just yet. FrostiaK versus WorstTurttle, and FrostiaK's going to be very careful here about his ultimate. Has to use his bees to get rid of the slow from WorstTurttle, but it's speed buff versus no speed buff too. That'll be enough. However, buying all that time, but enough time for Prime to get in and answer back.
Prime on the run now, completely out of mana. Aegis right on time for those vampiric bats, and Julio eats the spirit ball that Prime just got enough mana back.
Aegis was definitely the best time you could ask for there. That actually turned that completely on its head one more time. Queso, however, continue the aggression into the jungle, but as soon as they see Spudio and Dimi there at high health pools, they do end up falling back. OutCold ended up getting 2 for 1 there, was that at the end of the day?
Yeah, 2 for 1. FrostiaK, again, just seems to be really late on Relic usage so far this set. His Purification beads have been really, really late. They were in game 1. There, I mean, you're either beadsing the root or you aren't. You kind of have to go into each engagement with an understanding of what you're willing to give up, and yes, you have to update it on the fly, but there, I mean, he eats 90% of the duration of the root and then uses the Purification beads, ends up getting him killed. If he beads right away, then he might live. If he holds the beads, then he's dead, but at least he has his relic.
Well, PrettyPriMe in the mid lane. At the moment, he's already got Shaman's Ring online, which is interesting to see that item picked up so early on. Although it is an Isis, so she's got multiple ways of getting extra damage off. I'm excited to see where this next one goes. Is that going to be a Soul Reaver next, I guess, at this stage?
Yeah, I would guess so. I mean, Book of the Dead doesn't make a lot of sense. You don't have mana built in. It's going to be a Soul Reaver, probably to deal with this Blackthorn Hammer that WorstTurtle's picked up and the HP that Julio's going to end up building on top of that. I like the Shaman's Ring.
Low, though, right, on this build?
What'd you say?
The power's a little bit low in this build.
It's not too bad. I mean, you got 100 power from Shaman's Ring. You get 10% more damage as well once you hit them with the first ability. So you can, once you stun, and then you start hitting them with the Wing Gusts, they take 10% more from all those shots. It seems pretty good.
Wow, Chekio pre-beats that very early on. Didn't even get a kiss from FrostiaK. He didn't want any of those kisses whatsoever, so Frosty will hold those for now. Oracles on the left-hand side do go the way of OutCold Gaming, however. That gold lead now approaching 3,000 in favor of OutCold at 20 minutes in. And at the moment, it's going to be a Primal Fury up next. Not a bad time for a Primal Fury this at 20 minutes.
Dimi tried to catch him with that Excalibur's Wrath, loses it.
FrostiaK took the worst path in back he could have imagined, but he got away with it just in time, leaping away from Warchi's clay minions that stunned straight after the fact. But yeah, this Primal I actually think will be an important factor now. Obviously, Enhanced Fire Giant up in 5 minutes. If you can get the Fury to spawn around now and get it down, it's going to help you in the ensuing fights.
Especially for OutCold, where they've got a great objective burning composition with the Isis. I mean, Circle of Protection, the best secure spell in the entire game. And does more damage than Kukulkanult or anything like that. A fully charged Ice Assault will do more for you than anything else.
In terms of damage, sure. But
Yeah.
positioning and trying to get in range to do that, whereas Aurora
You don't have
top.
to. You don't have to be on top of it, though. I mean, you can drop it and then back it up. You don't have to be
That's a
on.
good point.
You don't have to be in it. It also insta kills anyone who comes in and tries to steal it from you. Even tanks, it'll basically one-shot him.
Chekio needs some help right about now, but he ults away from FrostiaK. FrostiaK ambushed in place for the kill, didn't find it. However, the Gold Fury on the left-hand side did end up going down. Looks like OutCold Gaming by the gold situation. There's WorstTurttle versus FrostiaK. Goes the way of WorstTurttle. FrostiaK just dropping a kill on Chekio.
Yeah, I mean, Chekio uses his Aegis in that spot and the ultimate. FrostiaK, I think, ended up getting hit by that airstrike, and that's what ultimately kills him.
That's fair.
Definitely, the up-down also kills him, and if he just takes the win and backs it up from that position, he's in a much better spot.
Right inside, though, with FrostiaK being dead, it's Queso that are getting aggressive. Pyromancer Spirit Ball was on point. It just was a little bit too late to secure that one over the wall there, but it was a nice attempt out of PrettyPriMe. Queso going to head back to base, get a couple of rewards for themselves, some more items, as they've still got a few seconds before FrostiaK respawns.
Yeah, big level differential on both sides. I mean, 3-level lead for Dimi over Julio, but then WorstTurttle has a 3-level lead over FrostiaK, but then PrettyPriMe has a 1.5 lead over Warchi. It's kind of all over the place. Dual lane seems to be pretty even on both sides, but this tells me that you want to be fighting around Dimi. FrostiaK, if he can pick someone off all by himself, he's done more than enough. That's really all you need from him.
We're still going to get hit by the Spirit Ball after the silence, and the wing goes to top it off. It only chipped away at a little bit of the health bar, though. We'll see how that continues on as the game progresses. The Soul Reaver is completed for PrettyPriMe, however. And we mentioned with OutCold Gaming how their aggression on the Phoenix Sieges could be a little bit awkward. Dimi has gone for the blink here to make sure he can do that.
Yeah, gonna try and get in on a lot of these players pretty early on. Certainly something that King Arthur does better than most, because he takes himself out of combat when he blinks in if he hits that Excalibur's Wrath. That's the big one.
Definitely keep an eye on Dracomarino, then he's going to have a big job on the front line to try and get these silences on the prime targets. Serqet doesn't really enjoy the silence, remember, too, so just keep an eye on Ganesha if he can make the impact that Draco's had consistently for the Queso roster. At the moment, it's a lot of grouping in the mid lane, however, from both teams. They both feel like taking a fight here, and it's Queso that are going to start it.
Prime has to use the Aegis. Julio all over him. Drops Circle of Protection, but WorstTurttle drops him even faster. Great blink in from the jungler.
Warchi there with the top of the damage if needed, but then Dimi blinks onto Warchi in the backline, gets the beads and Aegis out of Warchi, and he's still trying to buy time to get away from FrostiaK. Clay minions come into play, and the dot damage, is it going to be enough? It will! I'm not sure if the poison spread. Yes, I do. It did.
But not enough. I mean, that's only onto Julio, who's more than half HP. WorstTurtle still has the blink. He just jumped over the wall with the Mystic Rush before.
A lot of Spudio's position in there to try and get as much damage out as possible with Odibo, and you can just see the health bars of Queso slowly ticking down. Spudio's done a good job of just holding there with Breez to at least make sure Queso don't get anything after the fact.
Yeah, they're too low for Fire Giant from here, but a really good dive on a PrettyPriMe, and it's really Dracomarino's ult because it forces Breez up to an awkward angle to get out of that Ganesha ult as fast as possible, and that leaves a small window of opportunity for Julio and for WorstTurtle to blink on top of Prime and do a bunch of damage to him. That Isis ult was fine. I mean, PrettyPrime's doing everything he can to survive from that position, but you just need that shell from Breez and that healing coming from the Artio if you ever had any shot at surviving.
And that's always been one of the issues with Isis, though, isn't it? Is her survivability. Her self-peel can be questionable at times. She's got a little bit better than some of the mages like Zeus.
Yeah.
But it's still susceptible to damage.
Absolutely. I mean, her self-peel's, I think, one of the better. I mean, it's not quite as good as Nuwa, who has the best, but her Isis' self-peel, I mean, you can slow them and silence them, you can stun them. Circle of Protection gives you mitigations and heals you and does a lot of damage to them. but you're fairly stationary through all of this. And yes, Wind Gust gives you some movement, but when you take that much damage right off the bat, where the bat jumps on you and does that much damage to you, the mitigations don't really mean anything because you're dead before they matter.
OutCold then, still with a bit of a goal advantage here, even though Queso consistently have been winning the trades and the fight, so to speak, but keeping the pressure going. Fire Giant is available, and the next Fury is spawning soon. Left-hand side, though, we're still a bit of split push action going on. That should be a tier 1 tower. After clearing out that wave, just leave that for the minions and make the rotation begin. But that's going to get Blink from FrostiaK. What happened there?
It was the stealth. You lose the target ability, and it applies the ultimate, but you can't throw them after the fact.
Brutal. And with that, though, Julio and Warchi both use their ults. Also on cooldowns is Dracomarino's now, but Prime and FrostiaK is at the same time.
Good idea from FrostiaK. I mean, they knew Warchi's beads were down, so let's just jump on him and kill him, but new off Fog, man, it's so much better than you give it credit for.
Shekio, though, gets himself in an awkward spot and has to use the airstrike defensively. Another small win for OutCold Gaming here. Keeping on the relic situation, too. Still, Warchi just got his beads up now. Meanwhile, a couple more relics still not available.
Only WorstTurttle with that ultimate. I mean, Draco's getting his back fairly quickly. He's got a bit of CDR with that Spirit Robe, but other than that, I think OutCold should be looking for a fight on this Oni Fury. I mean, sure, PrettyPrime's ultimate is down, but he's got 20% CDR. That'll be up fairly soon. Should be sooner than anyone else's on Queso. You only have one ultimate to worry about here. This is the time to go.
Yeah, somehow you've read the situation well. It will be this Oni Fury engagement. But where do you go after the fact? Is it straight to Pyro and let the minions do the work for you?
Well, you're hoping that Queso fights you when you get some kills and the objective secured. Circle protection down. OutCold do get it, but Spear Paw was just off the mark. I think Draco silenced him.
FrostiaK to the backline looking at Warchi, and Warchi slips away again. Dimi keeping WorstTurttle busy. So this is a good fight for OutCold then, with two members of Queso still in the mid lane. But Spudio got over aggressive. Spudio bought off more than he could chew, and Shekio will spit him back out.
Good stun as well from Warchi. Knock up there onto Breez, and now WorstTurttle and Julio have joined the fray. FrostiaK onto the backline looking for Warchi, but the Aegis is good enough to chase him away.
Now Breez left on his own, and he's going to fall over. There's not much he could do there. Warchi was even there for the confirm if required. And they'll see exactly where the rest of OutCold had gone. Dimi to the mid, left-hand side Prime. And meanwhile, FrostiaK obviously taking a speed buff, because that's a jungler. And then off to the Fire Giant, go Queso. Question is can they look at a Fire Giant right now, or do they just go for the Pyro?
I mean, it's enhanced. They've still got 3 members of OutCold they have to worry about, including a King Arthur who's nearly full build. I don't think they can do enhanced Fire Giant in the face.
I think you could have just stopped his it's enhanced.
Yeah, maybe.
But no, not to be. Queso are going at it right now. They've already begun taking the damage and tanking it up. FrostiaK trying to run on the back. We'll meet Julio and make sure that option's not available. Julio just to push him back. Now, Queso got a decision to make. Do we stay on the Fire Giant or do we go for the kills? Well, maybe they don't get a choice in the matter whatsoever.
Prime does good damage to Julio on the backside. Prime's winning this trade so far. Julio's got ult defensively, but the problem is Julio is winning a 1v1. That means it's a 4v2 on the top side of the fight.
FrostiaK thought he was going to slip the noose there, but he didn't, because WorstTurttle was waiting around the corner. The good news is that OutCold Gaming do delay the enhanced Fire Giant, and they do get 2 members respawned, but 2 members fell in trade.
They stopped the enhanced Fire Giant, I suppose. That's a win, but I don't think Queso had much expectation to finish that objective. They would have had OutCold not shown up, but I'd imagine they were expecting a fight and were ready to take one.
Pyromancer started by OutCold, but with only PrettyPriMe and Breez here, it'll take quite a while for them to bring that one down. Spudio arrived just a little bit too late to make an impact there, and now Queso take hold of the Pyro themselves. Warchi, Draco walking forward using the fog, silence, and Spudio getting his beads.
You called it on the last team fight. I think Spudio just goes a little bit too deep with that mounted archery, and their positioning makes him lose his purification beads, and that's not what you want when you know there's about to be an enhanced Fire Giant dance. You need your Hunter being able to step up and deal some relevant damage.
And that means it's going to be 40 seconds for OutCold to kind of wait around if they can, to allow Spudio to at least get his Aegis back available, not just rely on that ultimate. Same note could be said for Shekio, who's in a very similar spot. His beads will be up momentarily. However, the Aegis, a few more seconds after that.
And then Warchi, a few more seconds after that. But once that happens, you're ready to go. I mean, Draco won't have Shell, and that's a big cooldown for sure, but still, you want to take the fight when you know Spudio doesn't have beads, and when you know FrostiaK doesn't have beads for a very short amount of time. It's still a big enough window where I think Queso could capitalize.
I'm noticing more Nemean lines as time goes on in these sets. Over
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks, they're just starting to creep in a little bit more. The anti-hunter items are really starting to make an impact again.
Didn't make an
Dimi-
impact
sorry,
there.
Dimi just fell down as I was saying that. I didn't realize he was going to die that quick.
Silence, man. Ganesh is so good at killing these tanks for the same reason the Nuwa is. The tanks just rarely have CC immunity that they can get on demand. They really can't afford to get purification beads that often. And when they don't have them, that silence just makes them a sitting duck. You can't afford to not cast an ability for 3 seconds in this game.
And I think that's one of the reasons why we've seen Ganesh come back into the fray as him being a pickable character. For quite a while, he stayed out of the meta and was seen as one of the worst elephants in the room, so to speak. But the problem is, nothing really changed with him, right?
No, the protection going to all prots is a pretty big deal.
That's true.
I think. I mean, getting extra magical protections during Ohm certainly helps. It helped Julio this game. Who knows? You know, if Julio ends up dying there, maybe he falls even further behind. He was pretty far behind as it was, but maybe like it's PrettyPriMe ahead. You never know.
Fog wasn't really impactful this time round because the
Great
autos
stuff.
from Spudio, but Breez still under pressure, I should say. Spudio was there for a second. Didn't even get a chance to get his Aegis off before WorstTurttle removed him from the map.
Draco definitely contributing there with that ultimate as well, but OutCold just kind of baited into these one-on-ones over and over and over again. First it's Dimi who gets picked. Now it's Spudio who ends up falling. And now Queso just gets to keep on rolling. Maybe they don't even go for Enhanced Fire Giant from here. Just get these towers in left and mid and rotate into Gold Fury. That keeps OutCold away from some potential gold being recuperated on that Fury.
Christmas Day for FrostiaK. If he was earlier on in the game, that many minions in the lane for free. Thank you very much. Oh, those are Hotches. And another wave coming in too.
You're such a support maiden, Graham.
Why?
It's 31 minutes. We've been level 20 for...
Dude, look at Breez right now, right? That is just the life of a support where you're like, man, just give me some farm now, boys. Can I get any of it? And you're like, no, I need to finish my Deathbringer and my Soul Reaver and my stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, can I just get my last item?
No.
No?
No,
I just
no,
want to buy
no.
wards for you guys. Is that okay?
No, you can buy wards. They're cheap. You don't need this wave.
Enhanced Fire Giant has begun momentarily. Queso will drop it after the Spirit Ball comes and hits Dracomarino. Checkio on the backside is taking a ton of damage, and FrostiaK did get the ultimate off onto, and the extra protections will top him up, and he'll get out of the fight with that poison on him and will survive. Julio now has it all away, and FrostiaK's angry that he didn't kill Checkio, so he
got
came
Blink.
back in and looks for the kill.
He finally finds him and takes everything it takes, and now Warchi actually ends up falling. How did that happen? This was such a good fight for Queso.
Good stuff from Breez to slow down Dracomarino and get FrostiaK back in range with the rest of OutCold Gaming now collapsing round. The carries are dead, as is one of the support players now. Only 2 members left standing for Team Queso to try and defend this Ryan Phoenix. Only benefit is OutCold do not have minions if they go for this.
No, they don't have minions, and they won't for a long time, but WorstTurttle won't be here to try and defend either. Now it's only Julio. And Graham, I think that's it. OutCold may have just gotten their first set victory in months.
Are they tanky enough?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
This tower's still
Breez is full
standing.
HP. Yeah, there's a lot of towers, but they've got 23 seconds and 20 seconds on Checkio as the next highest one.
Well, we mentioned the towers because
Prime's ult is coming up.
it does give a little bit more help towards the time, but as you say, in goes OutCold Gaming looking for the potential end of the game. Circle protection's down. It does get used, and that will be OutCold Gaming taking the set.
Wow, man, it's crazy that this is their first set win in so long, but they finally break the slump. A good performance. I think Prime's Isis was impressive throughout a lot of that game, but I just don't know how Queso lose that fight when Prime uses beads and ult defensively, never gets into the engagement. Everything gets dumped onto Checkio. We were kind of watching FrostiaK chase him away. I don't know how Warchi ended up dying. It must have been Dimi just doing everything.
Well, we may get a replay after the fact to find out eventually, but that was a big set, honestly, for OutCold Gaming. We mentioned bottom of the standings right now.
Better, though. I mean, they have been improving, I think, marginally every week. Breez continues to look good, clearly keeping the God pool a little bit small, but that's to be expected for a newer player to the game, not just to competitive. I think OutCold still, I mean, how can you say they don't have a bright future? They've got PrettyPriMe and Dimi and all these players. I mean, eventually they're going to put it together.
Well, the past is good for them, but will the future? We'll find out eventually, but to the desk we go after game 1.
Studying since birth, Ninja Dimi makes his impact known. Fearsome out there to all. But really in that last fight, for me, I think they had it a little bit wrong. It wasn't a heavy commitment on the Checkio. It was literally just FrostiaK that was able to get back to him and make all that damage. It was actually a heavy commitment from Queso to try and keep him alive. And Warchi gets isolated on the right-hand side, and they're able to get that kill, and FrostiaK hunts him down.
Despite PrettyPriMe being zoned away for a majority of that fight, circle protection being countered by the Dharmic Pillars,
Right.
forcing him out, it was Checkio Julio's lack of DPS, because he was trying to just run away from FrostiaK Serqet the entire time. Still ultimately dying beneath that tier 2 tower, but Serqet struggled early game from FrostiaK, but late game is where it matters most, finding the kill there, allowing Spudio to win that engagement on the Hachiman.
Yeah, I really do think that one just came down to FrostiaK making a nice play, weaving his way in and harassing out Checkyo in that fight. And then eventually getting the kill too, because he could have been there for the defense, but FrostiaK hunted him down. So just a really big fight from OutCold there in the end, because that game was kind of back and forth. For a minute there, OutColder in front, then Team Queso, and they kept fighting back, and for a while, Prime had a really hard time, I feel like, getting good circlet protections off, but really, you just needed that last fight at the end.
That's true. FrostiaK making a really important rotation in the early game, allowing the first blood going to Dimi on the Arthur.
That was huge too, you're so right.
And Breez was all over the place, and at the very end there, getting that 3-player stun, I believe it was, to really allow the rest of OutCold Gaming to remain aggressive.
You're exactly right. That was a big stun too that he got in that bear form on the Artio that set it up. But really, and I'm glad you brought it up there, man, the way that Dimi was able to play the early game was so important, because he started this one off in a little bit of trouble over there, but got some help from FrostiaK. They kind of sat on top of this Camazotz and the Soul, and they said, okay, well, if you think this is a counter matchup, what if we counter you by just bringing a ton of pressure over here, right, and not let you get there?
OutCold Gaming were basically trying to ask Queso the question, all right, you picked Camazotz, prove it. Prove that it's going to be better than Dimi. Dimi was like about 2 to 3 levels consistently over Julio in the laning phase after the initial first blood onto Dracomarino's Ganesha, courtesy of FrostiaK's presence, and after that, it was just the Dimi show in the team fights.
Yeah, he mastered the Shinobi art at 13, so no surprise that he would be out in front. Young man, Ninja Dimi, all fear the name and the play as well. 27,000 damage from him, or rather, damage taken, 18,000 damage actually dealt in that game as well in this King Arthur. So maybe you can't just let it through all the time, and now kind of earning a little bit of respect for that. Queso and everyone else that plays them gonna have to be more mindful.
WorstTurttle on the Ravana was trying to mitigate some of Dimi's presence. It just wasn't enough, and he
still
had a
good
great
game.
Yeah, he had a great, phenomenal game. Don't get me wrong. He was diving PrettyPriMe, just like in game number 2 on the Zeus. A little bit trickier, though, on the Isis, when you have the circle protection to mitigate damage. You have the silence to slow you down, the stun on top of it. So a good adjustment, I think, between games 2 and 3 for OutCold Gaming.
I think so, too, to really be able to recover back and be able to grab that win, because you're right, it was kind of tough for them in that middle one. And it's been so long since they found a win. It's been since week 1 they've been able to get a set victory, but this team held on, and I really think they've done a good job grouping up around Breez and playing well as a team.
That's right, switching from Half Devil to Breez, and in weeks 2 and 4, it was actually Queso finding 2-0 clean victories out against OutCold Gaming, but now the story has been reversed.
And I wonder how much AlphaJack's presence might be missed as well over on the side of Team Queso. It's so hard to know. We still do have one more EU SML set to go, then obviously we'll be going over to North America as well. So take this opportunity to get those snacks refilled. We'll be right back here for some more SML.